Welcome everyone, today I have a new leveling build for the Falconer. And oh boy, the Falconer is incredibly strong leveling and it's tons of damage. I don't know how to describe this class and this particular leveling method, but the Falconer is great in terms of burst damage, it is great in terms of traveling distance, and everything I love about the Falconer. So in this video, we're going to have a look at how the Falconer can be speed leveling super fast in Last Epoch 1.0. You'll be traveling super fast across the map, killing everything in front of you, and just have a blast, as you go through the game. You'll be pretty much one-shotting everything that is on the map, and you'll be, doing tons of damage. And what I want to do is, I want to provide you guys with an entire replay of the Falconer leveling from the early levels to the late levels. And here you can see, even around level 47, I was doing tons of damage. And once I got to level 8, I think I was critting for 12,000 damage and close to 20,000 damage with the Falconer without any particular gears. And I have to say, this leveling build is incredibly fast, incredibly speedy, and it's really enjoyable. If you guys want to plan to play Falconer as your first or second class, I really recommend trying this out. It is very powerful. Now, like most of our leveling guide, I'll be demonstrating to you guys the damage against both of the bosses like Logan and also the Snake boss. You can see that we deal tons of damage and both of the bosses melted within seconds. So here you can see fighting the sea boss and here fighting the Snake boss for the final storyline. And yes, majority of the time, the boss doesn't really, stand a chance against our build. And the Falconer is incredibly speedy, mobile, and deals way more damage than I expected. Now over here, I have crafted both of the leveling guide, so let me explain to you guys. The first leveling guide will involve the skills and also they are recorded so you can see the skill progression with each of the skills. The second particular crafting here, I wanted to show you guys what skills you can be using before getting your main skills. So what skills you can be using as rogue and also what skills you can gain some mobility and also tons of movement as you travel through the map before you get your core skills. So I want to make it comprehensive for you guys. So starting with our leveling progress. Here you can see the demonstration of the replay around level 5. I'll be using Puncher as my rogue as the main source of damage before I get my Falconer skills. And Puncher, once you level into 1 to 3 levels, deals tons of damage and it's really good. So this was recommended by me by a friend half mine. He said try leveling with Puncher and it's incredibly good. It doesn't cost any mana and I can combine this one with Swift to gain tons of movement and also deals tons of damage. And also the bleeding damage is really good. So as a demonstration, over here you can see me fighting the boss at level 9 and here we have tons of bleeding. Once I stack over 9 or 10 stack of bleeding, the boss pretty much dies in seconds. Now before I obtained my Falconer skills, I was using Puncher and the second skill I was leveling was Swift. Gaining the bonus movement speed is not bad. We can also gain additional mana and also gain additional healing for the future combos over here. Now over here, I was able to become a Falconer around level 13. You can expect to be around level 15 to be changing your class or the mastery. And once you become a Falconer, it gets super easy. Similar to a Warlock build, you'll be kiting enemies around. You'll be noticing the cooldowns of your Falconery, and this is your major source of damage. And notice over here, even without Falconery, I was doing tons of damage. Falconery can be used as a skill to kind of group enemies together and then cast it behind you. I tend to find this is one of the best ways to deal tons of damage. And this also means I was gaining a lot of experience as I charge my way through the map with speed boost, with Swift, and also with just great mobility and also great damage even in early levels. Now around this time, you might notice that even though I am using the Falconer, I'm still keeping my Swift. And one of the reasons is because if I do get any of the water rune or the haste rune, I'll be super fast in the map. Notice over here around level 35 I got a water rune and I was zooming across the map. And yes, I was super fast because of lower cooldowns and because we gain a boost of movement speed as you sweep across the map. And this is when my build really started to kick in. Here I can pretty much speed clear anything on the map, and this allows me to level and also progress through the story, get to the objectives incredibly fast, as you can see over here. Now I did keep Swift for a long time, but eventually I have to switch it out because I was able to get my Falconery skills and also my dive bomb. So now our mobility skill will come from Arrow Strike. Arrow Strike will provide us with tons of mobility. And one thing I do want to highlight as a small highlight over here. So Arrow Strike is considered as a travel skills. And sometimes I was using both Arrow Strike and also Swift because Swift still gives me the mobility while Arrow Strike will give me the damage. But if you do happen to find yourself an experimental boots that provides minion damage and also minions will be summoned around you as you do travel skills. And this is great. I summon my 2 of my catapults of ballistas and I move and the ballistas are next to me. So this is a really nice way of traveling fast and having your summons next to you to deal tons of damage. And I was loving this particular boost because of this. So after coming to my full falconry skill kit around level 40 plus, I was unstoppable and I was having a blast. The sheer mobility of the skill combined with the damage and also with the stats I was getting, I was not having any problems with anything on the map except error 461. Yes, I was still having trouble going through doors. Now over here, I do want to have a small highlight in terms of the Arrow Strike. This is a travel skill which allows you to blink around the map, but it's not really blinking. So one thing notice here, I really want to highlight this particular part of the replay, is that depends where you position your mouse. You can be blinking very shortly, or you can be traveling a lot further. Notice I'm moving my mouse to the end of the map. So maybe I'm moving my head over here so you can see where my mouse is. So my mouse is at the end of the edge of the screen, and this allows me to travel the greatest distance as I go across the map. And this can be a really big speed boost if you don't have all the movement speed or the mobility. Just one particular skill with its correct use, you'll be traveling so much further and also deal tons of damage. Now coming over to the boss fight. As for the Logan as the sea boss, you do want to notice Logan's beam of lightning over here. Notice you saw that he was charging the beam on my right hand side and I was getting to the left hand side. Your area mobility skill with your Arrow Strike, it does not dodge on top of it. If you dive yourself into the beam, you will die or take a lot of damage. So don't try to jump across it, because I used to blink across it with Warlock or Necromancer. You just want to avoid the beams just by running on the other side of the laser, and don't run into it, because your particular travel skills does not allow you to dodge the beam on top of it. You will tank the full damage, so be aware of that. Now in terms of the snake boss Majorza, not really a big deal, as long as you have a few skill set. And here notice I was getting some shield, and I will tell you guys in terms of the passives where you can get some easy shield, and this will protect you against most sorts of damage to give you some, supposedly maximum life to tank up against anything in the map. So yes, you can see here we don't really have problem against the boss, and it actually died really fast. So coming over to the builder's guide in terms of the skills and also passives. You can see there are passives you can follow with the recording as to where I went with the passives. Now again guys, I'm not saying this is going to be the best passive tree, but I had a blast while leveling this particular Falconer, and one of the things I mentioned earlier, I was able to get some additional barriers from this particular perk. Just 1 point over here gives me the Silver Shroud worth of 200 shield, which makes me much more durable in terms of the longer sustained fights against the boss. And notice that I was getting a lot of the damage, and one of the source of damage I was getting was holding a two-handed weapon. So this particular Falconer build is actually a two-handed Falconer build. If you're using a bow, you can simply come over to this one with additional damage to bow. So this is the change guys. If you're using two-handed weapon, you come over here. If you're using a bow, you can come over here for additional damage with bows. Now similarly for the skills, remember I was saying that if you don't have those Falconer skills available, you can follow this swapping guide which shows you where to go in terms of the skills in early game. So I have both of those guides available for you guys, and you guys can follow through it. Again, I'm not saying it's the best particular pathway, but I had a blast and it's super speedy, super nice to be combining those skills and also swapping them in, especially Swift, to gain tons of movement speed to go across the map. Now briefly coming over to the item choices you want to be looking for throughout the gameplay. I mentioned earlier I was using a two-handed item, a two-handed weapon. So if I come over to my character over here, what you're going to notice is I found this spear around level 20, and I kept it even though it's a blue item. It's not crafted, 20 fortune potential, and didn't craft anything on it, and it was great. Even though it had void damage, but the falconry still took those damage, and I was getting a lot of increased damage from the minion bow damage and also minion melee damage. So I used this particular spear all the way up to level 48, then I was able to find this unique spear to gain tons of additional damage. So having a two-handed weapon, especially something that increases your physical damage or something that increases your minion melee damage, is really good. Ideally, you want something like this, but nothing can be perfect, right, as you're leveling. So halfway like this is already great enough to deal tons of damage. Now in terms for the helmet, the chairs, and also for most of the gears, they're pretty straightforward. You do want to get dexterity wherever you can, get some elemental resistance, get some vitality, and the helmet and also the chairs should ideally give you physical damage bonus while you stack the physical damage on your weapon. As for the amulets and also for the rings, you'll be getting the Tranquilus type of items, which gives you additional minion damage. And together with minion damage and also dexterity on your affixes, you can be dealing tons of damage. Now in order to get some additional elemental resist, I keep the Avarice as my unique item. And we mentioned earlier about the Traverse boots for the experimental boots, those are great. If you do find yourself some experimental belts, you can also have the one I'm using over here. So the experimental belts gives me a little bit additional minion damage. Together, I can summon zombies. Let me show you guys over here. Look, I'm a necromancer with 2 zombies. And because I'm stacking minion damage, those zombies actually deal some decent damage. Which is a surprise, right? Look, I'm a necromancer now. Just a joke, right? But it's actually pretty fun. So I'm a necromancer falconer. Now in terms of the idols, they're pretty straightforward. You want some minion physical damage, anything that comes with armor, vitality, or elemental resist, or any particular elemental resist, together with increased health will be great for your build. Our goal is to get our resistance close to 60 or even 75% for most of them as we start farming the monolith. Don't be too worried if you don't get all the way up to 75%. And as for the HP, you don't have to be worried so much. This is the optimum set I was hoping to get to. You can see I'm still on 600 HP, and it's plenty enough for me to deal anything after level 60 plus, even though I'm only level 55. Now as you guys get to the monolith, which I'll make a particular video about it, you can be looking for critical strike multipliers, additional physical damage, and also minion damage. You can also looking for more chance of getting unique items and also more armor, resistance, vice, etc. Now what I'll do now is I'll provide you guys with this entire showcasing replay to show you guys, you can notice my leveling, right? From level 5, level 6 all the way up to level 55, what I was doing and also the highlights of how I was playing the game. I recall last time we had a request for some loot filters. I'm making some work in progress loot filters that doesn't remove too many items. This is not the perfect loot filter, but I'll share those with you guys from level 1 to level 30 and also level 30 to level 50. So what I'm doing with the loot filter, just a brief summary in case you guys are wondering. I try to keep all the noticeable idols, keep all the good affixes, and keep majority of the item that is above tier 2 initially, then go for tier 3, and once I'm level 55 plus, I'll go to tier 4. So anything that comes with the affixes I wanted that is equal above tier 4, I'll be keeping them and consider crafting with those.
Help me. Impressive.